Alright, in this video we are going to see how to create this animation effect. You can see text typing animation effect using HTML and CSS. We are not going to use JavaScript. This is the pure CSS way of doing this. Now as you can see, we have a background image, and then we have a radial gradient that is getting animated from three different colors, and above that we have a text which seems, you can see it is like the typing effect which is given with CSS3. Now let me show you how I have created. We are going to create this from scratch. Now I'm going to create a HTML file, Control N, Control S, and I'm going to name this as demo.html, and we need external CSS file, so Control N, Control S, demo.css. Now to create the template in the Visual Studio Code, please press shift exclamatory sign and then enter. Now let's link the CSS, so the link tag and the name which we have for the external style sheet is demo.css. Once this is done, we need just three lines of code. The first one is section, then we need div with, we'll call this as container, and then we have h3, and you can type anything, but I'll switch to stick with the same text which I have used in the example. Refresh it. Let me open it. Control N, then Control O. It's demo.html. So this is how it looks. Now on this CSS, for all the element, let me remove the margin and padding 0, and then margin 0, and then box sizing border box. Then let's select this section. Let me give the section full width so that it stretches to our browser screen. For that, height 100, vertical height, width 100, vertical width. Then we have, let's try to give the background color red, and let me show you how does it looks. Control Shift T. Okay, Control O, demo.html. So this is how it looks. Now let me add the gradient, radial gradient. So the inner color is going to be RGBA, the red color, so 255 RG0B0, and then the opacity, let the opacity be, let it be this one, and for the next color I want it to be black 00, and let this be somewhat transparent, so 0.5. Refresh this. This is how it looks. Now let's add our image. Then we can add with the help of the shorthand property. Since we have used background, now we can use URL. So this is the image. The internet is slow, that's why I'm using low quality image. You can pick with, you can stick, or you can search with anything and you'll get the relevant image. Don't forget to give semicolon. Let me refresh this. Background repeat. No repeat. And I want this image to cover the full screen, so background size cover. Cool. Now what we can do is, now we need to use the pseudo element, so colon. So before that, whatever is there in between, I want it to position center. So the section has container, so I want the container to be center of the screen. So we have the hack with the help of display flex, align items center, justify content center. Now if you see, you should see the text at the center of the screen. It is because of this trick. Well, that's all right. Now let's use the pseudo element. Before, whenever we use pseudo element, it is important to use the property content, then position. Let's we need to give width and height, so or else it won't work. Let the width be 300 pixel, let the height be 300 pixel. Then I want it to be, I want to position this at the center, so position absolute top 0. So whenever you are using position absolute, we need to use the container as position relative. So now this, for this pseudo element, the container is section top 0, left 0. Since we want it to be at the center, so we need to use 50%, not 0. So if you want to stretch the full screen, then we need to use 0. Now we don't have to use 0. Transform, translate. So this is again a trick to position it at the center of the container. Now let me give the background color just to show you how does it looks. Background yellow, refresh it. Now you can see yellow is available. Let me make this perfect circle. So border radius 50%. Now again let's try to add the gradient again. Remove the color, static color yellow. Now RGBA again, we don't need to use the black. Let's make this transparent just by typing the text transparent will work. Let me show just to, so it is not working because yes, it's working. Now let this be again pseudo element after. I'm not going to change anything. Cool, that is done. Instead of 300, let's make here 800. Now let's try to animate. Now you can see there's a scroll bar, we don't need that. So get into the body, overflow hidden, that's cool. Then what else? Let's copy paste the border radius to get the circle. Now what we need is, let's work on the background animation part of the section. So animation name, let's say change some, you can give any name. I'm just giving change VG. Then 2s, this is going to be the duration, and linear infinite. Let's define this at the rate keyframes, animation name on 0th time frame and on 100th time frame. What it should do on 0th time frame, what I need is, I want to have the filter hue rotate starting from 0 degree and it should end on 360 degree. Refresh it. Animation change BG, well that's sure. We need to add degree. Well, that's working. If you want, you can limit the color. Now let's work on the h3 section has container. Let's give the height and width to it. Height, let's say 400 pixel. Width again 400 pixel. Let's give the z index. Before using z index, we need to give position absolute or relative so that it can work. Now it's over here. Let me check why it's over here. We have used display, so it need to be at the center. You can see it's at the center. But our h3, again, to place the h3 at the center of the container, we need to use the same trick which we have earlier used. Refresh. Yep, you got it. Now we can style the h3. We have container, inside container we have h3. Let's give the color white for now. Let's give the font size 2 em, 5 em, and to remove the line break, white space, no wrap. Cool, we can add the shadow effect. So using text shadow, top bottom 0, left right 10 pixel, blurriness 20 pixel, and then black. It's pixel. Cool, we got it. Now I want the cursor like symbol, so for that, box shadow 10 pixel top and bottom, left and right 0, and blur 0, and the color white. Cool, now let's add the animation. So for the animation to have, we need the animation name, then we have the duration, then we have the speed, then the amount, the time of animation that need to be played. So I want it to be infinite. Now since we have h3, we have to make this inline block, display inline block. Now let's check the width of this h3. Select, so the width you can see 415.97 into 74. The first one is width and the second one is height, 415.97. let me write it somewhere, 41.97. great. Now let's define the animation as like earlier, @ keyframes, animation name. So we want it to be like the looping thing. So the first thing is on 30th and on 60th percentage, and then on 0th percentage, and on 90th percentage, and then on 100 percentage. On this time frame I want the width to be 0, and on this, the completion time frame, the width need to be the exact width which we have seen right now. Refresh it. So the width is getting from 0 to 415. So let me make the overflow hidden. Refresh this. Now this is too fast. Now we need to count the number of character. I have already counted it. The number of characters 15. So we need to use steps 15. So the problem is whenever we write steps, we need to remove the linear. Too fast. Let me make this 5 seconds. Cool. The scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening.